embrace your dreams. Sometimes you gotta take a loss just to get the win, like lots of stems popping it like oxygen when boxes wet. Focus on the mental, never lose like smooth instrumental. Better choose on the move in a pencil, choose what I get to. Never lose move on the move, but it's simple. Never give up and we want it and maybe we just keep winning, we conquering daily. Envision that pay me is never the
Hey there, this is Divots and Pivots. It's Tuesday night, and I think the rain is finally going to stop tomorrow, but we'll get to that another day. I'm Andrew LeDuc, a.k.a. Mr. Mallard, as always, joined by Bud Copeland at This Buds for you with an E. Don't come at him, Budweiser.
Not unless it's with a sponsorship.
Yes,
some
exactly.
Sort of partnership. Even if it's I'll take free beer. I don't even drink anymore. I'll take it and just give it to people.
I am doing a dry month right now, so I will take it next month. How about that? As always, brought to you by Acorn Hills, acornhillscode.com. Get over there. Use discount code TBFY15. Get your 50% discount on all the shop items there, apparel, and some pretty cool little trinkets for the golf course as well, such as ball markers, things like that. But yeah, let's get into it. Another beautiful Tuesday. But how are you doing? How is morale over at Which City Studios?
Morale's high. Morale's through the roof. We might be having a location update. Howdy, Blake. Tornado. That's terrifying. Tornadoes might be the only thing. Tornadoes are what scare me in life because you can't prep for them really,
Right.
You can have the bunkers and everything, but morale's great here. We'll get into all the reasons why it shouldn't be in a moment, including the rain. Like you can see, I just came in from outside, but what prompted your dry month? You feel like airing out your laundry?
No, it's just literally out of straight curiosity of how much weight I would lose just by only changing that in a month. Like, I'm not changing anything about my diet or anything. I'm just genuinely curious about like how much I lose.
You will be overwhelmingly surprised about.
And that's what I think. It's not like I'm crazy overweight or anything. I'm just genuinely curious.
And the roommate's texting me Mother's Day ideas. I love it. Don't forget, folks, Mother's Day right around the corner. Acorn Hills Code. They've got some beautiful stuff there for the ladies, and they've got some comfy stuff that is they can go either way, including this sweatshirt that I'm wearing right here. It's got the bear, the hoodie, Acorn Hills right there on the cuff. Where's that Acorn? There she is, right there. The first one came in the mail, and it immediately went into her closet. This is actually the second one in this house. She just looked at it and went, "Oh, thanks," and she put it on. I go, "That was for
Never
you.
mind.
Love you, babe." No, I think you're going to be overwhelmingly surprised about it. It's just the amount of sugar. That's what you're going to crave, though. Right. That's what you can't offset it with, because what you'll find is in about a day or two, or going into week 2, you'll just be gobbling up like gummy bears and Skittles and like bags of chocolate. And you're like, it's cool. It's cool. I'm not drinking, so it's going to be, so you might actually gain weight, but what the hell? The intern's screaming for me.
We don't leave a lot of like candy and chocolate in the house. So that's
my weakness. Right. Even when I did drink sugar,
I'm a salty guy. I need chips are my weakness. Chocolate, I'm not that big of a, like, I like it, but I won't go crazy on chocolate.
I could, if biology would allow, I could honestly live on Ben and Jerry's chocolate chip cookie dough ice cream for the rest of my life.
Ben and Jerry's is a different story. Ice cream, you got me. That's my sweet.
That's my Achilles heel. All right, back to the golf. All right, dude, things are great. Morale's high here on the North Shore. Big, as you pointed out, the weather played a big factor in yesterday's round. Bud's first quest for the qualifier kicks off for 2025.
We need that.
We went back to, this is actually a fun little thing. We went back to Kernwood Country Club for the Massachusetts Open. I was paired up with a guy named Jordan Burke. Shout out Jordan. He's a spectacularly nice gentleman. I think he ho-hummed around in 76 and missed the cut by 3. 73 got you into the Open Championship. And as you can tell, I would have let off if I had a spot. I did not make it. Missed the cut by the skin of all 11 strokes. Came in at 84. And the only reason I'm actually kind of jovial about it is because I had 3 goals going into it, and I accomplished all 3. The fourth goal would have been to fire a 73 and punch my ticket. But third round of the calendar year, I got 3 more qualifiers, and so the goals were this. I have a history with this course. The first time it went there and it punched me around with 41 putts, and I took a solid 10 on a par 4. The following time I went around there and was doing all right, took a 9 on that same par 4. This time did not hit a ball out of bounds, but still took a 6. So my goal was this:
Okay.
no balls out of bounds. And
Yeah, it's a good goal to
really,
have.
yeah, and it's a blind second shot, and so I laid up short, ended up in the rough, and it was just wet and brutal. And the whole moral of the story for me was the short game, just rusty. I didn't have many, but I had about three putts. Unfortunately, 2 of those were once I wasn't on the green and reg, so they were extra painful. So it was a couple of 3 putts, a couple of duffed chips. But the good news is we're piping the driver. I think I
There we
hit.
go.
I think I hit 10 drivers on the day, a couple of par 4s where you're hitting irons, and 9 of them ended up in the fairway, and the 10th ended up in a cemetery across the street. That was probably the one, and ironically enough, it was right after I had gotten that 6 down my throat.
Sure.
Pun intended, all 6 of it. On number 10, I get on the 11th tee, feeling friendly, like, all right, cool. Boom, just rope hook one into a cemetery. And it was because I lost focus for half a second. You've ever seen Days of Thunder? I felt like Cole Trickle getting through the fire at the very end after getting through that. I wasn't going to qualify, but that was one of those goals, just get that under my belt. So I feel really good. And also the third goal. So sorry, get through. What did we say? Get through number 10 without shooting ourselves in the foot.
Hey, you've gotten better 3 times now. Better each time.
I think I came in at 32 or 33 putts, which is respectable, including some 3 putts. But that means because I had a couple of up and downs here and there to balance it out. So we had those 2. And then the third was to simply get around 18 holes without getting defeated. And I did that.
Perfect.
And I know that sounds kind of trite to somebody being like, oh, you're just trying to sugarcoat the fact that you failed. No, I'm being realistic, and at the same time, I'm trying to focus on the positive, because why would I sit there and dwell on all the negatives? Those are blind spots. I acknowledge them. I'm going to go work on them, but what I'm going to focus on is also the stuff that can keep that momentum going. I can't change the mistakes. I can just go work on them. So you might as well just keep pushing that momentum forward. And for me, it was keeping a positive mindset, going from one shot to the next, one hole to the next. I didn't look at the leaderboard. I really didn't know, and I knew I was in bad shape because you can't block out. I had, I think, 3 doubles and a triple. And again, a lot of that had to do with either being out of bounds or just not making the green, and 3. So compounding mistakes, but I didn't make any
there before where you have an idea coming in, kind of where the number might be.
But I think I had one mental error, and that was that, like, letting down my guard after thinking that I'd gotten through some sort of moral victory. So the game's in really good shape, and that was on the heels of a 74 Saturday for the first league round. So I have that Saturday every other round. Me and the boys cleaned up, first team major of our career. We won the 4-ball with a gross, and I mean that literally and kind of metaphorically, because we left some out there, but a gross 68. And the boys took home first. Nice. I had an eagle on a par 4, hit a nice 286-yard 3-wood to 10 feet, and tapped that in for a 2. That got me about $50 in the birdie pool. So all in all, 36 holes. We're out the gates. We feel good about the game. I've got the next is June 5th is the Mass Amateur Qualifier at a course I'm kind of familiar with. So I actually kind of feel like I might have a shot there. I feel really good about the game. I got to get out there though over the next month, and then just chip and putt and work on that, because mentally I feel good. The ball striking is there. My yardage is very, very much on point. So all good things coming from the North Shore. And if you're still listening at this point, thanks for hanging in there. Stay tuned for more on Boudreaux's quest for the qualifier. We got the amateur, the mid-am, and the pub links, but this might be my farewell tour with the Massachusetts Golf Association Championship circuit, because drum roll, please, we're going to relocate to the state of Maine. We are actively and actively looking to get rid of this one. So if anybody's looking for a house in Salem, hit up your boy at This Bud's For You. But yeah, we have a couple houses up there that we like. We're talking to a realtor. I think we just put in an offer. I say I think because my wife's really running all this show. If it was left up to me, we'd probably still be living in an apartment, and but my short game would be better. So there you go. There you have it. Maine, you're next.
No, I love the sounds of that Divots and Pivots moving north.
Heading north. Uncharted territories.
Yeah, right.
You know what would be a good series is maybe like backcountry golf, going out on hiking trails, because they, like disc golf courses will basically embed themselves into like hiking trails, because there's these natural corridors, and then you should do that, like backcountry golf, like find these wide ass fields, or like my in-laws place, which just has hundreds or dozens of acres of open field where we could just set shit up and shoot. So stay tuned for more coming at you from the North Country.
So I saw a TikTok the other day where this guy said we should normalize. He started doing this. He goes, we should normalize going out on a nature hike, and he just brings his wedge with him and a couple balls with him in his pocket as he's out on a walk. And if he sees like a stretch where there's nobody, in the area, that he has an opportunity to try to punch a little 50-yard shot like that, he just works on his short game, intermediate game as he walks. I think that's a great idea. It's a lot of fun. So I love that. I'm hoping that the weather is nice this weekend. I'm hoping to get out there on Saturday for the first time this year because I haven't been out yet, and I need to. The itch has been real in all the good ways. But the fiance said some of the best words your partner can say to you or at the end of last week, and said, maybe you should try to golf next weekend. And I was like, yep, let's do it. So I'm hoping to get out there on Saturday. We'll see if I do. I'll obviously update everyone on Tuesday just how bad it goes, but I really feel like this is the year I can break 90. I know we're on two different planes, me and you, but I feel like this is the year I can break 90.
I like it. I think it's an honorable goal.
I said it last year. I think the closest I got was 91 last year. So I'm right there. It's going to happen eventually. It just is. And 3 putts, like you said, 3 putts is where it needs to get cleaned up. The short game is where it needs to get cleaned up, where I'm wasting shots. So we'll see how that goes. Let's jump right into some of the I guess not talked about enough news going on this past week, but the Q was this past week, or at least it aired this past week.
But we found out that the content qualifier. Yeah. Go ahead. Sorry.
Yeah, the Q. So the Q at Myrtle Beach. So Nathan Franks won with a 3 under. This time around for the Q, they had a mixture of collegiate golfers and content creators. So it was a nice mix. And Nathan Franks, I'm trying to remember what school he went to, or goes to, I should say, South Carolina. Yeah, South Carolina. So he's SEC South Carolina school. He goes out there and wins at 3 under. Joe Hooks, Tyler Watts. Really, the first creator I saw was Sean Walsh from the Good channel. He shot an even 72. Outside of that, the 4 ahead of him were all collegiate. The other creators, let's see, George Bryan shot a 2 over. Ben Kruper shot a 2 over. Peter Finch 4 over, Micah Morris 5 over, Roger Steele 6 over, Kyle Berkshire 6 over. Those are all creators. But then the creator that I really want to see do better, Fat Perez. I got to go back and watch. I got to see what happened. 17 over, 89. Not really in it at all. Did you catch any of this, or judging from your reaction, I'm assuming you completely forgot this was happening last week?
Fuck no.
Or that it was airing last week, I should say. It's up on YouTube now, so I got to go back and watch. But because I am genuinely curious to see, what happened with Fat Perez, that he was that far off the pace.
I love you for bringing this up. Thank you so much for bringing this back up. Because actually, I saw old tons of love on the leaderboard there, and it made me feel better about my qualifier finish at 14 over with his 17 over. Also, I think he and I have comparable handicaps, so I think it'd be fun.
I believe you do from that list we talked about last week.
This highlights just how uncharted these territories are that we're entering, and how we're still in beta stages of all this, because we had this, which was supposed to be kind of that spark, but since the inception of this, we've also had some creator classics, and we got another one this week at a phenomenal site, even though if a lot of these names might look kind of, who are these people? You might have to search a couple times. Don't have to search hard for Paige Sporanic. That's for damn sure. Glad to see she's going to be out there in all her glory. God love her.
Yeah.
What was I talking about before Paige entered the brain?
Yeah, no, right.
Oh, so these people, so they have 4 teams, Josh, and there's some new faces that we haven't seen before, which I do like. I think you got Pretty Boy, what's his name? Josh Richards. He's there with Brad Dahlke and Eric Anders Lang. Okay, so the Q at Myrtle Beach was dominated by college players, right? Guys who actually are tour caliber on their best day, and maybe some of them are going to go pro. Cool. And the creators, they didn't get smoked, never, really, but there wasn't a true creator in the top 5, really, you said?
Sean Walsh was. He's was part of Good.
Okay, but he's part of Good. He's not.
Let me double check. I believe he's good.
Anybody under threat of suspension by the PGA Tour, or no.
No. Sean Walsh was actually a Corn Ferry player before he went to Good.
Good. All right. Great. Graham.
So
wonderful. Fantastic. So he's a Brian brother. He's a former pro. Yeah. So he's an entertainer now. And then you look at like how much effort the tour is putting into these creator classics now, especially trying to highlight Philadelphia Cricket Club and elevating this kind of unique opportunity right leading into a PGA Championship, a major where the PGA Tour is kind of riding this wave that started back at the Players, ran through in Arnie's Place and the Masters and Hilton Head and all of this, and then we see Scotty just in a week where it might be ho-hum, he goes and just ties a tour, which the fact that it wasn't in Hawaii, I mean, I get TPC Craig Ranch isn't exactly Philadelphia Cricket Club or Oakmont. Jesus, the intern's getting wild. But the PGA Tour has had a pretty good run here, and I think they're going to put a bow on it this week with the Truist. So the content creators are just that. They're content creators. They're entertainers. You can't expect much more than that because, as we've seen with Grant Horvat in his most recent video with Scotty Scheffler, they go bum around Scotty's old club. And once again, Grant himself is a +5, +6, something like that. Like he's a baller. But this is a perfect example. He's admittedly like, I'm not you guys. Like, this isn't my craft. Like, he's like, I'm good at the sport. I'm good at the game. This is literally your craft. And there is a difference. And I like that he respects that. What I do think he's getting a little thirsty with, and I'm glad Scotty kind of said it because it's logical and it's like, stop, dude. You're like, I get it. You're trying, but he was talking about like, man, do I take this thing? He was almost doing a Tom Cruise impression of Grant Horvat, talking to him about this opportunity. And I'm busting his chops a little bit because I think he's trying to milk it. Like, do I take it? Don't I take it? Dude, you're going to take it. If you don't take it, everybody's going to think you're an idiot.
Right. He's pulling the Brett Favre, just drawing out the storyline as long as he can.
Exactly. Because there's no smoke around the suspension of Brian. That's going to play out. I think if it holds, everybody's going to go, well, that you were warned. And if it gets overturned, I don't think there's going to be this huge rash of talent trying to go play these events. I think these are unique individuals, but it does highlight the difference in them and just how hard it is to be good enough to be Scotty Scheffler or Jordan Spieth or Eric Van Rooyen. We'll get to that comment in a little bit. But watching that back and forth, and Scott, did you see the exchange with Scotty and what he finally said to him about this PGA Tour start and whether he should? It's a Stableford, right? Have you seen it yet?
I didn't see the full clip. I saw him, mention that it was a Stableford, and then I had to turn my phone off because something came up.
That's fine. Scotty, I mean, and Grant was playing the whole like, if I do this though, am I taking a place of some guy on tour who's grinding it out?
Right, which is a fair way to look at it.
It is until you hear what Scotty has to say, and then it's one of those things. It's coming from Scotty Scheffler. Who's going to argue with them? Like, who's going to argue? And he does say, he goes, that's a very noble or honorable or kind of thoughtful position to take. He goes, however, it's a sponsor's exemption. He goes, you have done enough for the game. He's like, you contribute so much. He's like, so people don't expect you to go out there and be a tour pro. They expect you to go out there be you. He goes, I think it's very appropriate for you to take it. And it was kind of like that. Yeah, like, no shit. What are we even getting at here? Yeah. I love how quickly the shock is just dying now. Like we're kind of in a world of like the, oh my God, Bryan Brothers, like free Wesley. I mean, by Monday morning, people were talking about whatever actually happened over the weekend. And now 2-3 weeks later, whatever it is, Grant's trying to squeeze, unless my gut tells me that video was recorded right around the same time. I doubt that was, super recent.
Oh, yeah, definitely. Yeah,
it's definitely, I mean, it's timely enough that it doesn't look out of place, but knowing what we know now and seeing how it's kind of just gone to the wayside, I think it just reiterates that you got tour pros and then you got, really, really talented guys who make a professional living out of the game of golf, whether it be entertainment or teaching. So pivoting real quick to, Jesus, Eric Van Rooyen. I sent you a text earlier. And actually pause real quick in case you're curious about the Creator Classic. It is at the Philadelphia Cricket Club. We're going to talk about the Truist this week and everything and why it's there, et cetera, et cetera. We all know that, but pretty unique spot that they're at. And there's Paige with her follow through. So there's Team Richards, which is Josh Richards, Brad Dalkey, and Eric Anders Lang. We talked about that already. Team Brownlee, Marquise Brownlee, or Marquez, or is it Marquez?
I'm not sure, honestly.
Sean Walsh and Sabrina Andolfo. Team Lowry, which is Kyle Lowry, Josh Kelly, and Claire Hogel. And then Team Tony, Tyler Tony. Is that one of the Dude Perfect guys? Tyler Tony?
Yeah, he's like the top Dude Perfect guy.
The bearded guy. Yeah, I like him. Tyler. Wow. Intern guy. Tyler Tony, Matt Scharf, and Paige Sporanic. We like Paige in this house.
Yes, hello there.
Right.
The intern's making her nightly appearance.
Good night.
Good night.
Yes.
Hi.
Good night.
All right. They all said hi and good night.
Did you say Matt Scharf too? I can't remember if you said.
Yeah, Matt Scharf's on Team Tony with Tyler and Paige.
Yes. Okay. So I do find that interesting because Scharf is he's a good golfer on good. But he's often put into like when they separate in like their top half and their bottom half. He's often he's not one of their best three golfers, according on paper or anything they've done. So I do find it fun that Matt Scharf is in here as well, just because I don't know. I think he brings something that is different.
I think it's kind of interesting too. It's on the last one was obviously the Players Championship, huge week.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you had the Barstool guys there. It was won by the aforementioned Grant Horvat. It was a star-studded event, and it was on Golf Channel. You could watch it. This is going to be exclusively, I think, on the PGA Tour's YouTube channel, which I mean, I guess it's appropriate for what we're talking about. We're talking about internet stars playing golf. So I don't know. I'll probably tune in tomorrow. I'll probably listen to it on the way home from, on the way to daycare pickup and whatnot.
Well, I find it fun that Nate Shot's in it too. He's the e-gamer, famous in that realm of sports. But he also made an appearance when Good did their Golf Channel Classic that one night, so he was part of that, and he was fun for all the reasons that we should love golf, where he had a personality and he went out there and tried to hit these amazing shots, and sometimes they worked, sometimes they didn't. But he's much closer to like you or I out there than some of these other creators.
So this week that would have been a good move. Invite Wesley
to the Creative Classic.
Yeah, you can't play in the event, but that other side, if you still want to. Speaking of my capacity as a professional golfer, I'm in a boycott and suspension. But but they're at the Philadelphia Cricket Club, which I can't wait, because this is one of those tracks. If you know about this place, it's because you're a golf nerd.
Mm-hmm.
Right. I've been letting you hang for a while. I think it's gonna be your right. I think it's gonna be your right chamber. You got a little hanger in there. I just noticed it.
Oh, Jesus Christ!
It's internet gold. Philadelphia Cricket Club, oldest country club in the country. That would be the definition of country club. I know Brookline, we are country club at Brookline, but this is the Philadelphia 1854 oldest country club in the country. Bunch of Brits wanted to play cricket after they graduated from UPenn. They do this. They rent land for a while, etc. Ad nauseum, ad infinitum. They do one course, the St. Martin's course. This one, the Wissahickon course. If you look up Philadelphia Cricket Club, they have I'm gonna say Native American, Indian, Indigenous person, whatever your title is for them as their emblem.
It was nice and safe of you there. I like it.
Yeah, we're gonna go ahead and just placate that. But they got a Tillinghast course, and A.W. Tillinghast, Bethpage Black, Baltusrol, San Francisco Winged Foot, one of the greats out there. And so this is going to be a fun test. So to watch these creators who spend most of their time at resort courses, or even munis, but most of them are playing out in Scottsdale and Jupiter, and these kind of pockets where they can go to these resorts and play as long as they promote. It's going to be fun to watch them get kind of slapped around the way I got slapped around by Donald Ross yesterday. So the Philadelphia Cricket Club, it's hosted a couple of things. It hosted the USGA 4-ball. It's opened like the Philadelphia Open back in the day. So it is going to be a really cool scene. And I think it's appropriate that this is pinch hitting for the Truist, which used to be, I think, the Wells Fargo and then the Wachovia before that.
I
But
believe
whatever.
so, yes.
But this is where we're usually at Quail Hollow, where we're going to be next for the PGA. So it's kind of cool that they're filling in back to back like that with that. Oh, also the 2 U.S. Opens at the Philadelphia Cricket Club. There you go.
Yeah, I know nothing about how hard the course. I know nothing about the Philadelphia Cricket Club, so this will be interesting to get my first look at it this week.
I mean, it's got a 74.8 course rating with a slope of 140. I'll just tell you, yes, those are high. 74.8 is pretty high. It's 70 to 7100 yards. I bet they can push that up to 72 probably, or scale it back. But par 70, so it's a beefy little design. Tough greens. It's gonna be U.S. Open stylish. It's not gonna be as bad as what they've been showing at Oakmont, but it's gonna be tough because it's not gonna be a course where a lot of course history. So for the bettors this week, it's gonna be hard. You had to look for Tillinghast designs. I would say just trust whatever AI tells you are comparable. Just go over to ChatGPT and say, give me golf courses comparable to PGA Tour golf courses comparable to the Philadelphia Cricket Club. It'll give you other Tillinghast designs, see who maybe has some course history there and pull at those threads. But definitely is going to be a lot of your ball strikers and driving accuracy, because if you are off of target here, it's not a lot of just throwing a dart from there. It's usually going to be back to position golf. So the fact that we have this kind of guest host this week, I think is a lot of fun. And then leading us right into the PGA Championship. But backing it up, Philadelphia Cricket Club is this week. Let's go backwards a little bit more, though, to the Byron Nelson, what we saw out of Scotty Scheffler. What did you think? What's your reactions to what's going on down in Houston?
So two things. It became pretty clear early on that he was going to win this thing, unchallenged. Like, that was not a question. It was, for me, this was not just a win that it's so hard to say that he needed this win, considering how I put a tweet out early this week, considering how his season has gone. Like, yeah, he hadn't had a win yet, but he's been top 5, I think it was, or top 10 in his past, 5 out of his 6 tournaments this year. Before leading into this one, he's made the cut in every tournament he's been in. So like, to say that he needed this win is probably a stretch, but it's just from what we're compared to seeing him from last year with the dominance he was in, and he came out there and Scotty just showed us all why he's number one and why he's no question number one right now. And it was nice to see him be able to really put the pedal down. I thought still the bigger story, that didn't surprise me that Scotty had that in him. The story I saw most out of that, though, was Jordan Spieth. He's right there. Close. He's right there. I'm excited to see him come into the PGA next week. There's a lot on the line for him in the rest of this year. So I'm really wanting to see him continue this little run he started, because there was no chance he was going to really challenge Scotty and catch him this past week. But if there's anybody who was going to do it on that leaderboard, it was going to be him. If Scotty did falter just a little bit. So I'm here for the Jordan Spieth show. I've always loved Jordan Spieth. I'm so happy to see him back. And I'm excited to see him coming up in the upcoming majors and see if he can get that career Grand Slam.
And it's funny because Jordan Spieth it's appropriate that he's runner-up this week, because the storyline was Scotty winning 31 under. We called it, like, not like it was a long shot, but it turned into a birdie fest. And I think as long as we're in these concentrated areas where you're going to get a lot of the big names coming out, if you're in Texas and they're in their hometowns, you're going to get guys. If we're down at the PGA National in Southern Florida, we're going to get guys, for these not signature events. The fact that Scotty got to come full circle, though, he used to come to this as a kid. There's pictures of him with Byron Nelson as a kid. He made his PGA Tour debut when he was in high school at this tournament. And there was a great cute video of him and Meredith exchanging. He's they're giggling like high school kids, and then just fast forward, and there they are again. But you forget that Jordan Spieth too. I think it was 2010. It was 2010. He was 16 years old, maybe 17 years old. And he was the defending U.S. junior amateur champion. He also got to go play in this tournament, makes the cut. I think he finished pretty high. Where did he finish there? T16. T16 is a high schooler. He's at Jesuit prep out there. So it's a pretty cool event. And I think, I need to give it a little more little more leeway. It's up there. It's got John Deere status now with me. I'm going to stop punching it because as long as the big names show up for it, we'll tune into it, which leads me right into Mr. Van Rooyen and back to the Philadelphia Cricket Club. Rory said at the beginning of the year, if you're going to have us come out to places, if you want us to come to places, then make them cool places. We don't care. It's not about the money really so much for us anymore. But guess what? It is still about the money for the sponsors and for the television programmers and for everybody. So Eric Van Rooyen, where's Eric Van Rooyen right now? Eric Van Rooyen.
Are you talking about his ranking?
Yeah, FedEx Cup.
So when I looked it up, FedEx Cup. Sorry, I didn't look that up. I looked up his World Golf ranking. World Golf ranking.
He's 53rd. So he's 53rd.
So pretty.
And is he in the field this week?
I believe,
signature event. So Philadelphia. Yeah. So he's in there. But he had a comment about this whole field size thing.
Yes.
And he's saying basically there's so many good people on tour, which is an argument I make, and we'll talk about Liv a little bit because they get a couple minutes today. Not because they did anything, but actually because they used to do shit. But I'll get into that later. So they make it so easy. But Eric Van Rooyen talked about how like these signature events, it's a shame because the fuller the field, the more opportunity guys have to kind of show, stand out, get the good stories. But here's the problem. The unknown doesn't draw the eyeballs. It might make you watch the next time around. But these sponsors don't cut checks based on, if we get a good story no, they need to know. They need to know like who we can start promoting and how far out so we can guarantee eyeballs, et cetera, et cetera. So the argument comes, well, why can't you just take those 70 guys, make them commit, and then still bring in another 30? Because the off chance that all 30 alsos are on the top leaderboard on Sunday and there's no eyeballs watching them.
Right.
You see where I'm going with this?
Yeah.
So, and I understand his side of it. He is a pro golf. He is one of those guys, every opportunity is great, right there. Cause he's Eric Van Rooyen is a very, very, very good professional tour golfer. He's not elite, I wouldn't say, if we even categorize golfers like that, but he's a staple of the last few years. And I think he's going to be a tour staple for the next few years. But all of this talk, and he's not the only one, he's just brought it up, but I hate the argument about these shrinking fields, because why did we give a shit about the Byron Nelson? Because it was Scotty and Byron and Jordan trying to chase him down and big names. Why do we care about any other tournament like these majors? Because they're big names. So it's a television show at the end of it. It really is. If the US Open was truly just qualifier every year, everybody has to qualify no matter what. Kind of way they used to do it back in the day for even like the PGA and the Open Championship. You had to go to a qualifier no matter what, way back in the day. But if they started doing that, the risk is too large. That's why the US Open, the PGA, they all say, top 50 in the world, you get invited, because if you want to, like, that's who this is for. Right. It's not for, these guys who catch lightning in a bottle and make a quick run. We love the Cinderellas. They're great. But if the Cinderella becomes the norm, then the regular season is just shit. If we can't guarantee a good curated product throughout the year that then culminates, and even we've seen them saying that we're making changes to the Tour Championship, no more staggered scoring. Everybody's just going to start at the same level, but it's going to be more cuts. And so they are going to basically try to push this into some TGL style 1v1 looking. It's not going to be match play, but it's definitely going to be like a final 4, final 8, final 16. I think they're doing like a final 16 on the weekend, and then Saturday cut down to 8 on Sunday. But then those next 8 that are part of that final 16, they're battling for position in the next year. Like, so it's going to be interesting, and we'll tune in for it, because we're going to definitely get 30 really high caliber golfers. And so while I empathize with that, with his position that signature events and shrinking field sizes takes away opportunity, what it doesn't take away are eyeballs. And at the end of the day, that's what pushes this. So maybe the PGA Tour is onto something here with this creator stuff, because if all of a sudden they can create this middle tier of semi-professional creator golf that is almost a relegated place, I mean, that could be some shit right there. Bring back the Big Break. If you ever remember that old show,
Oh,
Golf
dude,
Channel
I
show,
used to
that's where
love that show. That
Tony
was
Finau's a
fun.
big bait guy or a
That
big
was
break guy.
that was funny that when they used to have to hit it over the big wall, and obviously the where they get the name from, hit it through the painted glass, like all those things. They were just fun. It was a skill challenge. That's what it was like. The NHL does with their All-Star game.
Yeah, it was
But
like Big Brother meets Survivor meets golf.
Yeah, it was good TV though. I loved it.
And that's where you're going to get these guys who are going to shine. So the 4 guys at the Q at Myrtle Beach, we're going to get more of that because the PGA Tour right now is promoting even harder. Luke Clanton, was it David Ford? I want to say they're already putting Jackson Coyvin's name out there, even though he hasn't gotten his tour card yet. Gordon Sargent, all these guys who are about to come off the PGA Tour U program, just like Ludwig Oberg. So that's they're going to get more love because they're going to be again more camera ready, so to speak, than the tour pro who's been grinding it out. The Ben Griffins, unfortunately, while we love Ben Griffin, and you are right. Thank you for pointing him out on TikTok because he's one hell of a follow and he gives a pretty good insight. And I love his interviews. Even after he won, he's like, "Yeah, the shit's hard. Like you do this forever. It's not like, it's not like you expect it. You work for it, you dream for it, etc. But that's not the norm. Again, who did we lead off with? Oh, Jordan Spieth. He's back, baby, because excellence is what draws the eyeballs. So unfortunately for Eric, I hear you. I feel you. I just don't care anymore because I don't think it's a meaningful conversation. That ship has sailed. We're going to have smaller fields, higher caliber talent. But will we always have the higher caliber talent? I think so, because I think as long as the PGA Tour stays firm to like, no, you got to be in our program, and sponsors exemptions don't start flying on these signature events, we'll be good.
The cream of the crop will always rise. Like it's not going to be an issue. There's always going to be a standard of excellence in these tournaments. Real fast before we move on, a little pivot here to something I didn't plan on talking about, but I just noticed on the TikTok. Did you see Billy Horschel's announcement today?
I did. Billy Ho going under the knife.
Yeah. So if you didn't see this, he's getting a right hip surgery next week. He's going to be doing that out in Colorado. So that's obviously going to be taking him out for the majority of this season. Now he says he's hoping to be able to return sometime around late summer or early fall. I don't know all the medical stuff around hip surgery, but that seems early to me. I would have guessed we didn't see him until next year, but who knows with the way modern medicine is. But this, I think the bigger part of the story here is that this will pretty much completely take him out of Ryder Cup talk as well, because he's obviously not going to make top 6, but with the question mark around this injury and his rehab, there's no way he's going to get a captain's pick either. So it's a shame because Billy Ho's someone that's fun to watch on the Ryder Cup, and he can definitely handle the Ryder Cup. But this is now someone that we'll have to take out of that potential pool of players.
I like him. I think this might have been his last shot. It's not gonna be his last shot because even with Jay Rose at 44 making a run at the Masters, and these guys how they're taking care of themselves, and we've talked about the Overton window for what's expected of these guys in their 40s has changed. Best of luck to Billy Ho and the Florida Gator in his rehab. I think we'll see him again. Probably, I think he's going to just go ahead and set his sights on the next Ryder Cup and just say Adair Manor. That's where I want to make one more run at this before I start getting into the Brant Snedeker territory where they're talking about me for captaincies. Shout out Brant getting the nod for the President's Cup next year.
I did see that. Yep.
So there are, let's see here real quick. 15 live golf full-time players set for the PGA Championship. And
all right,
I look at this list and I want to make sure. Yeah. Outside of, let's see here, David Puig.
Oh, yeah.
David Puig and Tom McKibben, who just signed with Legion 13. Tom McKibben was one of those DP World Tour guys, got the top 10 or top 20, whatever it was. PGA Tour said, here's your card. And he said, no, I'm going to go to Live, which, all right, that's your big win. Go for it. Take Tommy. I'm not too worried about that. I look at the rest of these guys, and I texted you. I don't know if I texted you about this or not, but it's a point that I often make. And they say these live golfers are going to go over to. None of these guys are live golfers outside of Tom McKibben, who even isn't a live golfer. He's a DP World Tour product.
Yes.
Who got and sniped. I think Puig might be the only pure liver on there because you got Richard Bland, DP guy, Dean Burmester, DP guy, Bryson, Sergio, Tyrrell, Dustin Johnson, Martin Keimer, Brooksy, Phil Mickelson, Joaquin Neiman, John Rahm, Patrick Reed, Cam Smith.
Yeah. All
They're
guys who
all
made their fame elsewhere.
They're all PGA Tour products who have a side gig that's spun off and sunk almost $5 billion into the investment with God knows what for a return. And I really do think that we're going to see the end of Live Golf probably in the next 18 months because it doesn't seem like the PGA. We keep hearing about everybody wants reconciliation now. We just want a world where these guys keep competing.
Right.
I think the PGA Tour is just going to ho-hum. In the world of politics, we call it a pocket veto, where the president doesn't want to actually veto something and go through that, so he just sticks it in a drawer until the legislative session is out, which means it's like, hey, whatever happened to that thing? Oh, I don't know, man. But the deadline was yesterday. I didn't sign it, so like you're gonna have to go ahead through the whole process again.
Right.
I feel like they're just going to let whatever conversations they were having die and then see what happens with Liv, because
it's been a while since we've heard of those conversations.
Liv's floundering, dude. I just don't know what their next move is going to be because team golf's not catching on. I don't think the buzz around Crush again. We're talking about individuals who have PGA Tour, product as their base and their foundation, and nobody's thrilled, or they're thrilled that we're not, in love with their new thing. I mean, good for you. It was fun. I was talking to a guy yesterday about the Live Golf event. He said he was out there and he had a good time, and I told him about our experience. And then I asked him his opinion. He was like, this guy's played in 4 U.S. mid-amateurs. He's a stick. He knows golf. And he kind of said the exact same thing we've been saying. He goes, it's entertaining. He goes, it's just different. I told him my theory about the music, which I think that the music could be considered an actual aid because you could get like the tempo could help with your rhythm.
Right. Yeah, we've talked about that before.
And like they wouldn't allow a metronome. They wouldn't allow you to carry a metronome on the putting green to like get your tempo down. So the music could be a helping aspect. But Liv got their PGA Championship invites, and somebody will keep a scorecard. Where they finished, made the cut, this, that, and the other. But where do you think we are in the evolution of the Liv story?
Unfortunately, where we are is me asking the question to both myself and to you if Bryson snapping his little choke streak with a win on Liv Korea really means anything for what he's going to be able to do in these upcoming majors. Because when I saw he won Liv Korea, and I was like, oh, I mean, good for him, but like it didn't answer the question for me of where he's been, being able to get right there in these past couple majors, but he's just not able to finish it out. And I don't feel any more confident that he's going to be able to until I see it at this point. And seeing it on Liv is not seeing it for me.
Well, I mean, when you've got Charles Howell III chasing you down, nothing prepares you for a major than Chucky 3.
Right,
Augusta, Georgia. And then right behind him, you have the asterisk himself, Taylor Gooch, coming in at 3rd for Smash Golf Club. I mean, he looks like the after picture for a guy who just went through traffic school and is 387 days sober. No disrespect to any addicts out there. Get your help if you need to, but I'm just saying there's a type. You know what I mean? I think you have a point. I think with Bryson, but he's unique. He's the exception. He's not the rule. Even Joaquin Neiman, who's been this he's the world beater.
Yeah.
Like, well, hold on, real quick.
Not on PGA. He can't even finish top 15 in a major.
I was about to say, what has he done? What has he done in majors? And I think he is in his 2nd year with Liv now.
Yeah.
So in majors, 2025 T29 at the Masters. Last year he was T58, T39, T22. Yeah, you're right. He really, since his T16 at the Masters in 2023, back when I think he was still on the PGA Tour. Moved to Live Golf. When did he go? I think 20. Yeah. So yeah, it's not a real great testing ground for the majors. You got your Brooksy and your Bryson as your outliers, really. And I do think, though, and I know we just like to shit on Liv for a few minutes. I do think you have a point with Bryson being a guy to keep an eye on after coming off this win, because being as close as he was at the Masters, falling short, and then we talk about his inability to finish. Maybe that thing at the Masters was like, no, fuck this. I know what I'm doing, and I'm going to refocus. I'm going to dedicate. I'm going to win. He wakes up, watches American Psycho, does his push-ups, he drinks his protein shake, hits the gym, donates to charity, whatever. Bryson's going to be somebody who's going to be interesting to take a look at because not to get too far ahead, next week we'll talk nothing but PGA. We'll get into Quail Hollow. Usually the host of the PGA, but usually the host this week of the Truist Championship. The storylines couldn't be lining up any better. Danny Rapp is. I think Danny Rapp
did it out perfectly on Twitter.
Yeah, I mean, and because it writes itself. You've got Justin Thomas coming off a win and going to a place where he got his first PGA Championship. Rory's won at this place 4 times. Jordan Spieth is in form, and he's the next on the list looking to try to close that career major. You got Bryson in form. So it's all the stars are aligning for a phenomenal PGA Championship next week.
Mm-hmm.
PGA Tour doing what they're doing at Philadelphia Cricket Club with the creators and riding this wave right into I would say their unofficial major. You look back at their history, the PGA Tour was born out of the first big schism, to use a conclave / Catholic term, the first big schism.
Nice timing.
And perfect, right? You see that topical show here.
Yes.
That's it for you.
Good movie too. Go watch it. Conclave. I'll tell you what, hell of a twist at the end. Did not see it coming. You got to watch it.
I'm not going to watch it. What happens? You know what? I'm not going to watch it. Here's what I do. Honestly, here's what I do. So you can go on YouTube, and let me see if there's one out there.
Do they have the video version of Spark Notes now on YouTube? Like the clips that show you video clips. You can watch. Speed through.
You can watch like an entire season into this entire series of a show in like 3 hours. It's just it's like condensed into like explanations and clips. I did that
out of it for me though.
Fuck no, I did that with Yellowstone. After they shot the horse in the first 5 minutes, I was like, not watching this show, but I was so intrigued by the premise that I found all of this the synopsis online and just read through them. I love the whole storyline. Same thing with this Conclave. Not going to watch it, but when we get off here, I'll probably be scrolling later and I'll be like, oh, Conclave. And I'll go to the Wikipedia page. I'll read the plot summary. Right. What I'm more into is Angels and Demons, the Dan Brown novel and the movie.
So did you see the movie or read the book first? Or did you do either or whatever?
I read Angels and Demons before the movie came out because Da Vinci Code was the first movie. I read Da Vinci Code first, then went and saw the movie. Right. And then was obsessed with it. So I went back and watched Angels and Demons, which was actually his first book. So I read that book before the movie came out. So I had a preconceived notion, and they did a pretty freaking good job with it.
Yeah, it was pretty. It wasn't 100% accurate to the book, but it was pretty close.
Ewan McGregor is just one of my favorite. He has my favorite accent of all time. If I could have anybody that just kind of like androgynous, like, wait, are you Welsh, English, Irish, Scottish? Like so. Conclave. How did we get to Conclave?
You said the word conclave. Oh no, because you said schism.
Oh, we were talking about the first big schism in professional golf. It was back in this time. Was it 1934 PGA at Big Spring Golf Club? It's an exciting couple of weeks. We're in the middle of major season, so I think the Truist is going to be an interesting site. Look for, like you said, the cream to rise to the top. Rory, Ludwig Oberg, or my money's on Jordan Spieth this week. Finally, I think he's gonna. I'm leery because of the whole superstition around, is he going to peak too early and then he doesn't win the career Grand Slam? But I think I actually picked him in my pool just because
I want him to win that career Grand Slam so bad. Like it would just be cool if we had both Rory and Spieth do it in the same year. I find some beauty in that. I find some fun in that. Maybe others don't care all that much about it. But
which would you rather have? Rory wins another one, keeps the Rory Slam alive, or Jordan gets his career Grand Slam.
So I think we talked about this a couple weeks ago, and I think I asked you, and I don't think I ever gave my answer. I think I would rather see the Rory Slam stay alive. I think that would be much cooler and historic to see someone do that. Sent for the first time in a long time. So like I'd rather see Rory win.
Yeah, me too. Also, because I think Jordan Spieth is going to get his PGA with Phil winning at 50 at Kiowa. Again, the second time I use this phrase, it shifted that Overton window just a little bit to what's acceptable to expect out of these guys, especially by the time that J Dog is pushing 50. The game will have changed quite a bit in longevity. Who knows what these guys are going to be capable of. I don't think we're going to have 80-year-olds out there, but who knows? Old Bernie Langer is going to be pushing 70 on the Champions Tour. How old is Bernhard Langer now? Bernhard
I'm not sure, but
68, 67. He's 67 years old.
Spieth has 4 straight top 20 finishes throughout the month of April and now into May. So that's something you want to ride while you can, I guess. So it's definitely worth a bet if that's the way you're looking at it. We'll see, but
one more shot at Liv, and then we can figure out what to do with the last 10 minutes of this show.
I got ideas.
Rory said we want to play at cool places, right?
Right.
That said, I think it was Trump International in Scotland, because Turnberry's back on the road of conversation, but Trump International Scotland, something like that, just got listed on the DP World Tour. People are going nuts for it. They're like, it's one of the most beautiful courses in the world. Can't wait. And they're like, because this is the type of course that is going to make every pro go, wait, where are you going? Oh, yeah, we want to play that. So what we got coming up from Live Golf is... And I understand the timing of their schedule. They do place things opposite of or near to these majors, and then they go other places in between. So leading into the U.S. Open in June, really, where the fuck is this? They're going to be in Dallas at the Merido Golf Club, which I know nothing about.
Yeah.
Before that, they're going to be at the Robert Trent Jones Golf Club in Washington, D.C., which is a nice track, but it's nothing that makes their kind of socks roll up and down. This is what gets interesting. When they go overseas, they can lock up the great spots. When they're in Spain, they're at Valderrama. Ryder Cup site, beautiful place, Spanish Open type of place. John Rahm talked about it. In the UK, they're at the JCB Golf and Country Club. Again, don't hear much about it, know much about it. Bolingbrook in Chicago is something that we've heard about a little bit. But then the club at Chatham, I just don't know where the Cardinal at St. John's. I think that we're seeing the beginning of the end, and I really, really, really can't wait to see what happens when the first round of contracts expire at the end of this
that's going to be such a big storyline, and it's going to be such a dramatic watch to see it all fall apart. And because like we've predicted for long now, that is what will happen. But I'm curious to see how it happens, and those contracts are just going to be interesting. Real fast. Oh, go ahead.
Sorry. Last thing, because it's on the Live front, but it's more of a positive. Did you see Captain Keegan's dinner with prospective Ryder Cup members in Philadelphia?
Oh, I did not see that.
It's happening apparently right now.
Oh.
Tuesday night in Philly, Captain Keegan Bradley will host a dinner for the current top 20 in the USA Ryder Cup standings. Also invited are members of the 2023 Ryder Cup team, the 2024 President's Cup team, and Live players Bryson and Brooks are scheduled to be at the dinner. So I think so Team USA is
counting them out as far as captain picks. That was a big talk last Ryder Cup. Was do you invite Live guys? I get so like it's.
Yeah, I think that's over. I think now it's just back to skill. The kind of comp I was going to make is because Brooksy got the nod, obviously, and I think Brooks is the new JT. How it was like, you don't leave Justin Thomas home in the Ryder Cup. Well, no,
right.
I think unless he's not automatic anymore. Yeah, him and Jordan are not automatics anymore. Brooks is kind of on scholarship from those majors that he racked up, where I still think that he's so competitive. He's so fucking good one-on-one, and he's so talented that you do take him. Dustin Johnson used to be like that, and he's no more. Brooks and Bryson are just going to be staples on Ryder Cup for the next 2 or 3 editions as long as they stay sharp in these majors. I have no problem with that. I still think that it doesn't change the fact that the official world golf rankings are not flawed. And if you saw the rumors flying around that Liv reapplied, Trevor Immelman made it very clear. Yes, that Trevor Immelman from CBS Golf. He's also the president or chair or whatever the hell they call of the official World Golf Ranking Committee. And he said, just to set the record straight, they haven't reapplied. That's all they need to do. He's like, we won't. He's like, I'm not going to comment hypothetically one way or another on anything. He's like, but the status is they haven't applied. Full stop.
And that's which I was curious because that was a Greg Norman after the last time was the one who kind of was like, well, forget this, we don't need you anyways. Part of me was curious with the changeover if they would try again, but
yeah, the
I guess
CEO has
not.
been talking about it. They just haven't done anything yet.
Yeah, so that's that. One more point on the PGA Championship coming up next week, even though we still got the Truist this week. Coming up next week, we will, as part of Golfer Gang, there will be another network roundtable to preview the PGA Championship. I'm not exactly sure which day that will be coming out yet, but I can tell you it's happening. It's scheduled for the recording, so be on the lookout for that. If you liked what you saw at the Masters preview, we're going to get you ready for the PGA Championship as well. All your betting, all your picks, all the storylines, all the fun, and all the bullshit we'll have for you. 5 minutes left. I'm going to pivot real fast because I've actually, if I forgot to mention this last week, I've actually had this for a couple weeks now. No, I got my Scott Fishbowl invite early this year. I've never
That's
gotten it early.
right. You were talking about this.
I got the Scott Fishbowl invite, and not only do I have the invite this year, I will be drafting live down at the Harp at Patriots Place at Gillette Stadium. So I'm going to be at that live event. So if you're in the area, you're a football fan, it's free to attend. If you're in Scott Fishbowl, you get that invite and you're interested in drafting in that. I'm not sure if the spot's still available, but you can check. That's the only way. If you're drafting, you have to buy a ticket to get you into, behind the ropes, basically, I believe. But other than that, anyone can come and attend to watch, party, hang out. I'm pretty sure there's going to be auctions, giveaways, things like that, all in the name of charity through fantasycares.org. So, it's going to be a fun time. I'm excited to draft live for the first time. I'm in the Hartford Whalers division, which I'm pumped about. I chose it specifically because I just think that merchandise is going to be pretty cool. I think that old school Hartford Whalers logo is that color scheme, the logo, all of it. It's just, it pops, and I love it. And the other two options were the Boston Red Sox, lame, boring, done millions of times. And then something unicorns was the other one. I forget what it was. It was like I don't know. I forget what town it was, but it was some random town unicorns. Have you ever heard of a New England team, or at least a Southern Mass or Connecticut or whatever, with the name Unicorns? Because I never heard of them. I don't even know what sport it is.
Was it Provincetown?
No.
Oh,
No,
unicorns, not rainbows. No, I haven't. But it just, when you said the Whalers, it reminded me of one of my favorite moments from Mallrats. Have you ever seen Mallrats?
Yeah, I've seen Mallrats.
When Jason Lee's sitting there playing Sega, and she's like trying to go have breakfast in Hartford, the Whale, they only beat Vancouver once, maybe twice in a lifetime. R.I.P. the Whale. God, I watched that on there was an ESPN 30 for 30 on that the other day, or it was a short or whatever. They were talking about the breakdown. I wasn't living up here at the time, but I can't imagine. It would have been like taking the Braves out of Atlanta. It's like, what are we doing here?
Right.
Although I guess they have taken the Braves out of Atlanta. They're north up in Cobb County at Truist Park. Funny enough.
Look at that. You know what that is? What we call a nice way to bring
full circle
to land the plane. Something that we're just experts at here on the show. That's gonna do it for us here this week, guys. It's another beautiful Tuesday. Rain, go away, please. I want to play golf this weekend. Catch us every Tuesday here, 8:00. That's Sports Podcast Network. Golfer Gang every Wednesday morning. You can catch not the live, but the recording on all your audio podcast favorite destinations. I'm Andrew LeDuc. This is Bud Copeland. We will see you next week, and as always, stay classy.